I don't think it's going to end well, and I think there's enough blame to go around. I think Jalen could have definitely handled the situation better in less of a public manner. I think whether it's him or his agent, he has to understand that when either one of those parties, entities speak, they're speaking for you. And I think there's blame to go around on Jacksonville. You know, if you want this guy as one of the best cornerbacks in the National Football League, why not go ahead and pay him? You know, I think the issue in Jacksonville, not just with Jalen Ramsey, but with Yannick Ngakoue and some of the other young stars. Now, I know they paid Miles Jack, but that was thought to be not a market-setting deal, but just a pretty good deal, pretty average deal, is that some of their young players haven't been taken care of. And on the flip side, you know, you make the guard one of the highest-paid guards in football, and he's not playing well. You know, you pay Blake Bortles, and he was terrible. So who is making the decisions of who to pay? Because Yannick Ngakoue is one of the best edge rushers. Jalen Ramsey is arguably the best cornerback in football. Why is it taking so long to get these deals done? Either you want us or you don't. And so I think there's frustration and blame to go around on both parties, both the management side and the player.
With that being said, still staying within the AFC, what are we to make of the Pittsburgh Steelers and how they look right now? Mason Rudolph threw a couple of nice touchdown passes, one to Juju Smith-Schuster, and I forgot who the other one was to. DeAndre actually was filling in. But I got to ask you, they're 0-3, and I think that without Big Ben Roethlisberger, with Antonio Brown, with Le'Veon Bell, both out of Pittsburgh, obviously, the big three that you once had no longer is out. Antonio Brown, we know his story. Le'Veon Bell's with the New York Jets. Big Ben Roethlisberger is no longer there. He's injured. He's out for the season. What the hell can we salvage from the Pittsburgh Steelers at this particular moment in time?
Well, the only way they can win right now, I think, is they're going to have to outscore you because their defense is not up to par. I mean, again, yesterday, I know they turned the football over several times from the 49ers, but when it came time to make plays, Jimmy Garoppolo was able to have a game-winning drive. And I think as poor as Jimmy Garoppolo is playing, he still was able to do that against that defense. And so Mason Rudolph played well, good enough to win. But unfortunately, that offense has to be perfect, and it's going to be tough to do, especially when Connor's not performing to his capability and the quarterback, your Hall of Fame quarterback, is out for the season.
Booger McFarland right here with Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Jacoby Brissett and the Indianapolis Colts are 2-1. Is that because of him? Is there something else that we're missing? Right now, I'm thinking that because Andrew Luck had retired, Nick Foles had gone down, and Tennessee still had Mariota as his quarterback, it was a foregone conclusion that Deshaun Watson and the Houston Texans would have the division well in hand. But that doesn't appear to be the case because as good as they are, the Indianapolis Colts are showing they're not going anywhere. What is it about the Indianapolis Colts right now that we should all be paying attention to?
Well, Frank Reich tried to tell us several months ago that Jacoby Brissett was a top 20 quarterback, and I think he's showing you that right now. And so, when you look at Andrew Luck retiring, was there going to be a drop-off? Sure. He was a very good quarterback. But is the drop-off going to be dramatic? No, because Jacoby's playing well. I like what they're doing offensively. And so for me, Frank Reich is a very good coach. Marlon Mack runs the football very well. And Jacoby Brissett is doing more than enough to show everyone what the head coach told us, and that's Frank Reich and that is that he is a top 20 quarterback.
Booger, let me go back to the NFC because right now I neglected to bring up Cam Newton, and I said something on television this morning that I want your response to. Obviously, Cam Newton is the face of the Carolina Panthers franchise. Obviously, he's somebody that's a former league MVP who went to a Super Bowl, and he was playing well at the quarterback spot for North Turner last year before he got injured. Having said all of that, because of the struggles of the Carolina Panthers in recent memory, combined with the way Kyle Allen played yesterday, if that continues, because Cam's not going to be there for week 4, it's already been announced that he won't play against Houston. If his sub continues to perform the way that he performed yesterday, albeit against Arizona, what do you do with Cam Newton, Booger McFarland?
Well, I think you got to make sure that Cam is 100% healthy. I don't think you make any dramatic changes right now. I think he's not going to play next week. You let Kyle Allen come out, you get more comfortable, and you don't make decisions until you have to. Kyle Allen allows Cam to be 100% completely healthy, and then you make that decision. Cam brings another dimension that most teams would love to have. That's a big physical quarterback that can get you first downs. And so I'm not in the business of benching anybody. I think this emergence of Kyle Allen just gives Cam an opportunity to get completely healthy.
Booger McFarland right here with Stephen A., ESPN Radio, ESPN News. We got a game tonight. Nation's capital, Chicago Bears going up against the Washington Redskins. You're calling this game tonight. Talk to me about that and what you're anticipating from this matchup.
Well, I think we're going to see one of the best defenses that we've seen in some time in the Chicago Bears. They are, as you say, Stephen A., they are a box office. They got stars everywhere. They got guys that can make plays. They got a future Hall of Famer in Khalil Mack. They got an offense that's struggling. Mitchell Trubisky hasn't performed well, and they're starting to rumble a little bit in Chicago. I think tonight you're going to come out and see an offense that's going to try to simplify things, try to get their young quarterback some confidence, and in return try to get the noise to quiet down. As far as Washington, I think that Jay Gruden has his work cut out for him because the offensive line is not playing well. Defensively, they're at or near the bottom in most statistical categories. And, when your quarterback is your best player and he's a journeyman like Case Keenum, it's an uphill battle to score points. And so I think if you're a Washington fan and you want to win the game tonight, you got to somehow make it a low-scoring game. And if you're Chicago, you want to come out, create some turnovers, give your offense and your quarterback some short fields to try to get them going. Because if Chicago's offense can muster, 17, 18, 19 points a game, they are a legitimate Super Bowl contender. And there's probably 7 or 8 teams that you can put in that category. And Chicago may be near the top because they have the best defense in football.
But, Booger, when you hear the noise, the rumblings in the nation's capital, they've got – I'm sorry, not the nation's capital, in the Chi-Town. Chicago's got the 31st ranked offense. They've got the 31st ranked passing attack. We look at Mitchell Trubisky, and we know he is not what we hoped he would be, at least at this point. They moved up in the draft to get him, and they passed on Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. Now, I mean, what is Chicago supposed to feel like? What are they supposed to be feeling right now, Booger?
Well, I understand why they're feeling that way, but, Stephen A., we react too much in a vacuum, okay? I mean, last year they were a field goal kick for moving on in the postseason, and we all know how that ended. Mm-hmm. So it's early. I think what happened in the offseason is we think that all these quarterbacks are going to mature and progress at the same level. And we've seen Watson, and we've seen Mahomes, and we're like, okay, what about Trubisky? Well, you know what? He's doing it his own way right now. And he's not as quick as those two guys have been to progress. But, meeting with Matt Nagy last night, I think he feels supreme confidence in Trubisky. And he has a luxury that not a lot of teams have. Houston doesn't have it. Kansas City doesn't have it. He's got the best defense in football, and so he doesn't have to rush him. He does have to play better, but he doesn't have to rush the progress. And he told us that they're in it for the long haul. This is not, hey, let's create some numbers for this week. This is about what kind of quarterback are you going to be over the next 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, and that's what they're in this for. So I think he'll play better tonight. I would be shocked. This Redskins defense had Carson Wentz looking like an MVP. Dak Prescott shredded him up. So I'd be surprised if Trubisky doesn't put a number on Washington tonight.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because I'm thinking this is the beginning of the end for Jay Gruden. They're 0-2. They go 0-3. That's obviously not an impressive start. Case Keenum's completing about 68, 69% of his passes. Hasn't thrown an interception on the season. Has thrown 5 touchdown passes, but you got an awful running attack right now that's probably dead last. I'm wondering what is it that you're seeing from the Washington Redskins and what can they do or what do they need to do in order to get things turned around?
Well, I think they got to first get some guys healthy. I mean, their secondary is beat up and banged up, and they've been getting beat for a lot of touchdown passes. But more than anything, I think they got to get some pass reps. They drafted this kid out of Mississippi State, Montez Sweat, and everybody made a big deal of him. His 40 time, he ran 4.4 in the 40, and I don't see that on tape this year. I haven't seen that in the pass rush. And so they have to just get some of their players, man. When you draft all these guys high, these guys have to perform. Brandon Scherff, the right guard, he was the 5th overall pick. He's got to play better. Okay, Montez Sweat, first-round pick, ran 4.4. He's got to play better. Darius Geis, I know he's hurt right now, but when he comes back, he's got to play better. And so I just think it's a matter of getting guys who you've drafted and who you put in position to make plays. They have to make plays for you.
Booger McFarland, looking forward to listening to you call the game tonight, man. Best of luck to you, man. Keep doing your thing. We'll talk next week.
All right, appreciate it, Stephen A. Thanks, buddy.
All right, the one and only Booger McFarland, voice of Monday Night Football, right here with Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News, 888-SAY-ESPN. That's always the number to call up. That's 888-729-3776. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Back with more of your calls in a minute. By the way, when it comes to hiring, you don't have time to waste. You need to get to your short list of qualified candidates fast. That's why you need Indeed.com. Post a job in a minute, set of screening questions based on your job requirements, then zero in on qualified candidates using an intuitive online dashboard. Discover why more than 3 million businesses use Indeed for hiring. Post a job today at Indeed.com/hire. That's Indeed.com/hire.